When people talk about richest names in African music, eyes like Wizkid, Davido, and Burna Boy names are always mentioned. But behind names of the stars that changed Afrobeat forever, this was one man quietly building a billion-dollar empire secretly. A man who turned unknown eyes to global superstars. A man who made Afrobeat global and turned it into an international business worth millions, and unlike international music executives, Don Jazzy doesn't just talk about success, he lives it, from million-dollar mansions to million-dollar cars. The Mavin boss has built one of the biggest entertainment empires in Africa. But here's the craziest part. Don Jazzy once revealed that he spent $4 to $5 million to promote just a single song, and that's the Calm Down song. So how rich is Don Jazzy? Let's dive deep into that. But please, kindly subscribe to this YouTube channel and be part of this community. I create content like this every week. Kindly like this video too so that this video will be pushed to newer audience. Turn on notifications too. Let's move on. How did he build Mavin Records into a global powerhouse? And how does his luxury life look like? This is inside the luxury life of Don Jazzy. Don Jazzy's real name is Michael Collins Ajeri. He was born on November 26, 1982 in Umuahia, Nigeria, but he grew up in Lagos. Young before the fame, young before Mavin Records, Don Jazzy was just a young guy obsessed with music. His family wasn't poor, but life wasn't luxury either. As a kid, he loved instruments. He learned to play a bass guitar and piano at a young age, but one thing made him different from others. He didn't just want to perform music, he wanted to understand how music worked, and that thing would later change his life forever. Before becoming rich, Don Jazzy struggled. At one point, he moved to the United Kingdom, and life there wasn't glamorous as it is right now. He worked regular jobs while trying to survive, but even during those difficult moments, music never left his mind. He met the band at one point, and that meeting changed everything. The chemistry between them was special. One had energy and charisma, the other had production genius. Together, they created magic. In the early 2000s, Don Jazzy and the band created Moguls Records, and suddenly, Nigeria got a new sound. At that time, Afrobeats was still growing, but Don Jazzy's production changed the game. His beats sounded cleaner, more perfection, more international, and people started realizing they weren't just local music anymore. They are global music. And from then, Moguls became unstoppable, but the relationship collapsed. The relationship between Don Jazzy and the band collapsed. Fans were shocked. Nobody expected that, and at that time, many people believed Don Jazzy's career would suffer badly because the band was the superstar in front of the cameras. But what people didn't understand was this: Don Jazzy wasn't just an artist, he was a builder, and shortly after the breakup, he proved it. In 2012, Don Jazzy launched Mavin Records. At first, people doubted him. Some thought Moguls was the peak, but Don Jazzy had a bigger vision. Instead of focusing only on himself, he focused on creating stars, and that strategy changed African music forever. Over the years, Mavin Records have signed many eyes like Tiwa Savage, Rema, Ira Star, and Crayon, and almost all of them are successful. And that's not luck, that's strategy. One thing many people don't realize is this: Don Jazzy is not just a producer, Don Jazzy is a businessman. While many artists focus on fame, Don Jazzy focus on ownership, music rights, brand partnership, distribution, and everything. He focused on a lot of styles, and that's why he's rich. That's why Mavin became powerful. Instead of chasing quick money, he built a long-term empire. In 2024, a major investment deal featuring Mavin Records and global investment companies pushed the label value into massive territory. Afrobeats was no longer just culture. Now let's dive deep into the luxury life of Don Jazzy. Don Jazzy owns properties in Lagos, Nigeria, and from homes shared online, Don Jazzy's home looked like a movie, I ain't gonna lie. Luxury interiors, huge living spaces, high-end furniture, Everything about the environment shows success, and unlike many celebrities who always show off, Don Jazzy keep things private, which actually make people curious because the little the fans see is even expensive, so you just imagine what the fans don't see. When it comes to cars, Don Jazzy owns luxury. Over the years, they have been linked to expensive vehicles, including Mercedes-Benz cars, Rolls-Royce, Cullinan, Lamborghini, Bentley cars, luxury SUVs, Range Rover, and for Don Jazzy, cars are more than just transportation for Don Jazzy. They represent achievement. Remember, there is someone who once struggled in London trying to survive. Now he moves in vehicles worth millions of naira. That's a huge transformation. Here as well, it shocked a lot of fans. Don Jazzy revealed that he spent $4 to $5 million trying to promote Calm Down. So you just imagine he spent $4 to $5 million. That's somebody's net worth. Bro, I don't have that money, but that's a celebrity, like a big celebrity in Nigeria's net worth. $4 to $5 million just to promote a single song. Bro, Don Jazzy just know this investment thing, like he take big risks, because imagine if Calm Down wasn't a hit song. It's a big risk because he invested $4 to $5 million, and fortunately for Mavin Records and Don Jazzy, this was a big hit. And this Calm Down song they brought millions of dollars, like they brought more than $50 million because shows, streams, like bro, Don Jazzy is just rich. Don Jazzy is very, very rich, but because he doesn't show off, you people might think he's not rich, but Don Jazzy is just rich, bro. That money wasn't just for making the song, it was for a global promotion, playlist placement, marketing, radio plays, movie, like it was for global. And at that time too, the World Cup was going on, so Don Jazzy just gave the music, to producers and like DJs to promote it, so they collected money. So bro, Don Jazzy spent a whopping $4 to $5 million trying to promote Calm Down. Invest, take big risks, and get rich. That's it. He invested into the song so that the song will be unavoidable for radio promoters, like for people. So he invested millions of dollars. Unfortunately, Calm Down was a big song, one of the biggest Afrobeat songs ever. I think the most streamed Afrobeat song is Calm Down. Baby Calm Down is a big song, bro. I ain't gonna lie, it's a global song. A lot of people talk about the eyes, but behind these artists and these big songs, the executives making massive moves behind the scenes. Don Jazzy is one of the biggest through Mavin Records. He helped create a system, a machine for creating stars and generating millions of dollars. When people see Don Jazzy online, they usually see the jokes, the memes, and the funny side of him, but they don't really see his big investments, his mansions, cars, and other stuff, because he doesn't just show off. But behind those jokes is one of the smartest men in African entertainment, a man who built $1 million empire silently. An empire made from music, investment, properties, brand deals, and ownerships. How many eyes spent millions trying to look rich? Don Jazzy built $1 million empire and he invested his money, and today that strategy changed his life forever. From luxury mansions in Lagos to expensive cars and business investments, brand deals worth millions of dollars, Don Jazzy, the boss of Mavin Records, is one of the most richest executives in the African music industry. How rich is Don Jazzy? What business does he own? And how did the producer from Lagos build this luxury empire? And now, Don Jazzy's net worth is between $80 to $100 million. Just look at the likes of Rema and Ira Star. Don Jazzy is the one who is paying Rema and Ira Star. So you just look at the cars Rema is buying. Bro, Don Jazzy can go band for band with David, I ain't gonna lie. Because in an interview, he said that he can buy a private jet, but he don't need a private jet right now. He said that he can buy it. So Don Jazzy is just insane rich. Can you subscribe to this YouTube channel and be part of this community? Love you all.